Hi everyone, welcome to the first edition of the RBM Roundtable, where we're going to take the opportunity to catch up with some of our regional bowls manager staff from all around Australia. Joining me today is James Whitehead. He's the RBM for the Eastern Melbourne and Eastern Victoria region, affectionately known to most of us as Jimmy. How are you, mate?
Good, Clive. How you going, mate?
Yeah, going good, going good. And also, we've got Nick Hind. He's the Regional Bowls Manager for Southeastern New South Wales and the ACT. Pretty cold down there, Nick, at the moment, I reckon. How are you?
Correct. Good morning, everybody. Keeping well.
All right, let's start with you, Jimmy. Give us a bit of your background, mate, just how long you've been in the role and so forth.
Yeah, sure. I started this role July 2019, so coming on 10, 11 months now. Obviously, the last few months have been a bit different, but I've been thoroughly enjoying the role. I've been playing bowl since I was 6, 7 years old. So, yeah, giving back to the clubs is it's a big passion of mine. It's great.
Excellent, excellent. And you, Nick?
Look, I'm coming up on nearly 2 years in the role, and I look after a pretty big territory from Mallacoota in northern Victoria all the way up through the south coast of the Illawarra, and a lot of that area has seen a pretty challenging time this summer with the bushfires and now the coronavirus. So it's been a challenging time for us in the RBM role, but we're all working hard to help our clubs.
Yeah, it's certainly been one thing after another a little, hasn't it? But look, let's start to talk about some of those things. So let's start with you, Jimmy, and I believe you've got some great examples of what clubs have been doing in these tricky times, things like, the way they've been engaging with their members.
Yeah, look, a lot of clubs have stepped forward during this time to really identify that their membership base needed to be pulled together. I mean, it's one thing that a lot of people say they're missing the most from the sport is the togetherness, the feeling part of a team and feeling part of a club. I've had some great examples of the clubs that I look after. I've had Hampton Bowls Club that they've been doing a poster picture of your week and voting on whose was the favourite picture of the week, and I win a couple of beers for when the bar opens again. I've had some clubs like Corranborough. They've been doing old pictures of members and people guessing who that member was and just keeping the engagement going through that. And then I've had it right down to clubs like Coronella who have been, people have been submitting pictures of their bowls, like small pictures of the bowls they use, and it's guess the bowl and try and guess the member's bowl. So things like that have just been keeping the spirit up of all the members and keeping them connected, which has been great to see.
Yeah, great ideas and just simple little things, aren't they? It doesn't have to be anything that's too elaborate or anything like that. Simply taking a photo of your bowls and so forth. It's clever.
It's good fun. No, it's got some really good engagement on the post they've had. So fair play to them. And look, there's countless examples of really good newsletters being created from certain clubs just to keep people informed of what's happening. A lot of members who don't do the social media side of things, it's still good for them to be informed of the what, where, and how sort of things are developing around the club. A lot of clubs have taken the time to do some capital improvements, do some paintings inside venues, and do the work they couldn't do with people around the club. So yeah, I'm very happy with how clubs have taken to this time. They haven't just sat on their hands and been down themselves. They've really pushed forward and made the most of it.
And the IT side of things is one that you're pretty passionate about, I know. So, the social media, club websites, Bowls Link as well. You're almost 2IC in Bowls Australia now for Bowls Link, I believe. How's all that been going?
Yeah, look, great. It's a good time for clubs to develop some content for their social media. Social media is not only a tool to communicate to members, but it's an advertising page. It's a free platform for clubs to advertise to outside people and prospective new members of the club. So use this time to create some good content, to share some content that Bowls Australia have been posting, that certain state bodies have been posting as well. Just try and grow the likes and the people that follow your page, because eventually when this all comes to a head and we come out the other side of it, if you've grown your social media base to 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 followers, you're now able to offer a better deal to sponsors. You can say, look, we're engaged with 3,000, 4,000 people on our social media pages, and these are the people that are going to see your posts, and we can promote your product through there, because the reality of it is all businesses are going to be looking to ramp up on the end of this. So, yeah.
Yeah, let's bring Nick in on that, because I know it's something that Nick's very interested in as well, is making sure that clubs are using this time to do some of the things that they either haven't had time to do in the past, or to prepare for the reopening, Nick?
Yeah, that's quite right, Clive. And a lot of what Jimmy says is very accurate there. The clubs can use this time now to be doing things that they can't do with the burden of trade and competition. Things like, planning business plans, writing sponsorship prospectuses, member surveys, and like Jimmy says as well, getting around the club and tidying up and doing a bit of paint and cleaning out the locker rooms. They're all good things that can be done, and clubs have time to do at the moment.
Yeah, if they're looking for, if any clubs are looking for a heads up on any of those sorts of resources and so forth, they can head to bowls.com.au and head to the regional bowls manager section and the club assistance section, and they're going to find all of that information right there. There's heaps of templates and so forth, and some great ideas in there. Jimmy?
Yeah, 100%. Look, I reference the club support page a fair bit when I'm meeting clubs and spending time with them. There's some great resources on there. There's business plans, there's budget templates, there's Bowls Link 101 guides, social media 101 guides. There's so many different free resources for clubs to leverage and use.
Now you talked about Bowls Link, and there are some fantastic newsletter templates in there as well, aren't they? So clubs that are sending newsletters out, Bowls Link can really make that look really professional and quite engaging.
Yeah, 100%. There's the campaign manager on Bowls Link, which some clubs are using. It works very similar to MailChimp. So I know a lot of clubs are around MailChimp, except this is just all on one system. There's no flicking in between. You create the templates the same. Once you've made a template and you're happy with it, you can stick with that moving forward, or chop and change as you want. But yeah, some clubs have had some really good success from using the newsletters through the campaign manager on Bowls Link, which is good to see.
And if clubs want some help with that, whilst the regional bowls managers at the moment are working from home using the phone and email and so forth, there are the opportunities to do meetings like this, like a Zoom meeting, and the regional bowls managers can take the clubs through online and show them how to work one of those newsletters.
Yeah, 100%. I've done quite a few Zoom calls in the last few weeks and video calls as well, just to help clubs through the nitty-gritty of the system. Once you get the flow of it and understand how to use it the first time, it's pretty easy and pretty intuitive to pick up. I've seen some good examples of clubs taking initiative on Bowls Link. I had a call last night with Berwick who are looking at using Bowls Link for their club championships for next season, which is fantastic. So all their club singles, pairs and the such through there. And on top of that, they're looking at running, when we can get back to bowls, their winter social bowls through there as well. Just creates an online platform for people to register. And look, it's the way we're going in the world now. People want to do things at a quicker pace and online. And if we can provide them the tools and the resources for them to be able to do that, it works great.
Yeah, especially with clubs, they can find the people in their club that are really passionate about this sort of stuff, that spend a bit of time already online. Then they're the people that are ideal to be doing this sort of thing.
Yeah, correct. Look, it only takes one person to sort of lead the charge, and they can work with us RBMs pretty closely to help develop the Bowls Link offering as well as the websites. We obviously provide the WordPress websites to all clubs throughout Australia, and I've seen a really big uptake in them during these last couple of months, especially through the smaller clubs that might not have had a website previously. So look, that's something else we can offer as RBMs. We're all trained in how to set up their WordPress websites and how to teach clubs to maintain them. So look, 100% reach out to your local RBM to facilitate that.
Now, Nick, one of the key roles for the regional bowls managers over the last 6 or 7 weeks has been keeping clubs informed with everything that's available to them at the moment in terms of financial assistance and so forth. How's that gone?
Well, correct, Clive. And while it varies state by state, Bowls Australia have been very thorough in having a template with all the information available. And there has been lots of excellent support from the federal government and from our state governments around keeping clubs going. And as well as that, there's been a lot of good grants available for clubs. And that's something that the RBMs are able to help out each club with providing the best possible submission for their grants and really giving them the best chance of securing some funding this time.
Yeah, I guess that's important, isn't it? Because it's going to be such a competitive, whilst those grants are there, it's going to be so competitive with lots of different clubs looking for assistance. So the best advantage you can get out of putting together a great proposal is going to be more important than ever.
And look, if clubs can really capitalise using this time to help build grants and get on the front foot and be ready for the future, be ready to roll, they're going to be in a better place.
And there's never been a better time to be in contact with your local government and having that great relationship with local government and councils, Nick.
Correct. Yeah, they're always most supportive of all the work that clubs do. We've seen this summer with the bushfire across a lot of southeast New South Wales and Victoria that clubs were really hubs for the communities and have really helped out. So councils understand the value that the clubs bring, not only in terms of bowls, but in terms of socialisation and in terms of being a community centre, and that's something that we can really leverage.
Now, the RBM workload through the period, how's that look, mate?
It's been different. Certainly I'm one who really enjoys being out on the road and meeting face-to-face, but being able to do things online, as Jimmy's mentioned, on Zoom and on video calls, via email and via telephone. The RBMs are always available. We're only a phone call or an email away, so we encourage clubs to reach out to us as we try to reach out to you.
Yeah, certainly. And that's, again, we remind you of bowls.com.au. If you want to check out, there's a full list of the regional bowls managers that are available to you right there under the club support area. So, guys, Nick, I guess, how do you think your clubs are going out there at the moment? And what advice can you give them during this time and working forward for the future? Nick, you go first.
Look, overall, I think clubs are in a strong enough position. There are some clubs which we know have had some struggles, both financially and in terms of membership over the years, and that's common to clubs in a lot of industry, not necessarily just bowls. But the ones that I've spoken to have been really positive. They've been really thankful that they've been able to receive all the support from Bowls Australia, and they've been really thankful for the return to sport that we've seen recently across the different states. So I think the Bowls in a strong position moving forward, and that if we've got the clubs that are really excited about making some progress and making the best use of this time, that's going to set themselves up for future success.
Yeah, and how about you, Jimmy?
Yeah, look, I mean, there is obviously clubs who need some assistance getting through this period in terms of being pointed in the right direction of grants and funding available. Some advice I've been giving to some of my clubs is call your providers, call your utility providers, have the conversation with them, call your local council if you're on council land, have the conversation with them, say, hey, look, times are hard during these months. What can we do to support it? It's exactly the same as you in a residential property. You would call your providers to see what can be done on the bills. But I'm very hopeful that we will be ready as a sport for when we open fully again. I think we can be an integral part of the community that will be looking for ways to engage and ways to feel that community spirit and feel again at the back end of this COVID-19 day. So I'm very hopeful that clubs will be prepared and take the time to sit down now and work out how they're going to open and how they're going to open through the stages that are coming in the next couple of months.
All right, so just a reminder to all the clubs out there, the RBM resources are available. Yes, the workload's currently at 80%, but there's not going to be too many RBMs that you can call that won't answer their phone regardless. So check out bowls.com.au. There's an RBM servicing every affiliated club in Australia. So you don't have to miss out and you don't have to wait for them to call you. It works heaps better if you call your RBM when you want some help. So guys, thank you very much for joining us on our first edition of the RBM Roundtable. We're going to do more of these. We're going to catch up with other RBMs all around Australia. So we're looking forward to that. Thanks, Jimmy, and thanks, Nick.
Thanks, Clive. Cheers, Nick.
Thank you, Clive. Thank you, Jimmy.
Good on you guys. Thank you.